Okay, so a little bit of history of what we're talking about. And then you can see this is in the backlog, so this isn't something that needs immediate attention, but it's definitely something that we need to talk about because we have a lot of pressure internally to get this done, and I want to make GitLab employees happy. So if we do come up with a plan, I would like to schedule it. Right now, it's humongous, and we can't do anything with it. So this is the point of what we want to discuss. So the idea is providing a mechanism to clean up stale environments, and this was opened by our docs team, okay? And if you can see the motivation to this is that we currently have 500 environments, 95% of them don't actually have a deployment, and they want to, which means they're doing nothing, they're stale, and we want a way to clean it up. So that's the motivation of why this is important. And we have done some work around this in previous milestones. So in 12.4, we provided an API that allows you to delete environments. And basically anyone with some technical scripting knowledge can create a script that will, go one by one and delete it. In addition to this,
I think that the deletion is not strict requirement, but like stopping environment is, I think at least it fulfills their, expectation.
Stopping the environment?
Yeah, stopping environment actually cleans up environments board. Deletion is actually like remove the database record completely, but the stopping is just like showing in a different tab. So I think it's enough for them at least, because nobody cares if the record exists or not. As long as the available environment, the index page is clean, I think it's enough for them, I guess.
Okay. Just so we're sure, like, we're talking about the one, like the record on the database of GitLab, and then you have the actual environment on the like deployment server, right? Those are not being created. Like the last one is not being created by, for example, a manual job, right? It's just the record that is being created and that's being stale.
Yeah, yes.
Gotcha.
Okay, so the first thing we did was the delete API. And the second thing we did not long ago, I think maybe 2 milestones ago, was we added a way to auto expire environments. So if you set it up in the first place, it just gets deleted after the expiration date. So let's say you set up 30 days, after 30 days it gets deleted, and then you don't need to deal with this. The problem is, what do you do for older environments that didn't have this configuration?
Yeah, so basically the idea to approach this problem is that let's create a feature to set auto, so the expiry period to the existing records, the older records. It's really easy. And so, yeah, actually I have a proposal to this issue. I can talk that later, but yeah, basically the idea is just setting expiry period to the existing records. And yeah.
Okay, so that would do it after the fact. Would this be a configuration in the setting, or do we?
No, probably the. Can I share my screen?
Sure.
So the basic idea is written here. This issue will. Just in case, I'm going to share it.
By the way, in between, are environments with an expiration date deleted or stopped? So only the record or both?
Wait. So this is a. So sorry, Dimitri, what's the question?
Sorry, I asked like, hey, when we have environments with an expiration date, the new ones, when they expire, are they deleted, like including the database, register,
no, just stop.
GitLab and the deployment server, or just stop? Okay.
Just stop, yes. So here we are saying that GitLab Con, which is a problematic project today, right? And the problem is that under the review folder, there are so many no deployment empty environments, like this one or this one. And basically, doc team wants to clean up these records, right? They don't want to see this one in available page. But we can just move it away to stop the one, because when nobody cares what exists and is stopped. And basically my proposal is that let's allow users to set expiry period to these no deployments yet environments, empty environments. So maybe we put a button here or something. I don't know, the UX is up to Dimitri, but we have a button here, and then like schedule auto stop in 1 week to empty environments or something like that. It's just like one button to update all existing records to set the expiry period. So our existing feature, which released 2 milestones ago, the automatically clean up environments, is going to catch up these empty environments. So
this is going to be a one-time action, right? This is only needed for older.
Yes. So why we need to set the button here, the folder, is that because users do not want to set the expiry period to production or staging. So this is what I'm thinking in this like a current UX proposal is that it's a bit it's kind of not ideal. Probably it's just over engineering, and what users want to do is just clean up under this review folder. So why don't we just create a one button and then set that.
We can potentially create a call out that appears once certain requirements are found within the project. Like, hey, you have like a +10 no deployments yet review environments. If that is the case, then we show a call out towards the user that says, hey, it seems you have a lot of unused environments. You might want to consider stopping them and moving them to the stop, like removing
That's better than have it permanently in the UI. I do have another question though, Shinya. Is this something that we only need for the docs team internally, or is this something that also external users will be using?
External users can use this because this is not just a GitLab problem, but yeah, users has the same issue. Maybe the first iteration is just create a manual like one-off action button somewhere, and the next we can just like Dimitri said, like automatically detect if empty environments are piled up. We can just like call out and then like let users to clean up the things.
Yeah, we could do that iteratively. Dimitri, what do you think?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
So Shinya was suggesting that in the first iteration, we create a button that we put here on the UI and people can press. And in the second iteration, we do it with your suggestion. If you have over 10 environments that have no deployments, then the product will suggest it.
So what is why is there a need to be iterative there in terms of scope? Because it's a scope decision, it seems.
I assume
my question is basically like, why can't we skip towards the second one? Is there a good reason to be more minimal here?
Have we lost you, Shinya?
Yeah. Sorry. What is the second one? So you mean they?
Dimitri's asking effort and scope. Like, what's the difference between doing one shot for the end result, which is if you have over 10, for example, environments, then have this dialogue as opposed to the first iteration that offers the button.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm struggling to understand the difference.
Let me rephrase.
Yes.
So Orit just asked like, hey, there's the idea to be iterative here. First place a button, and then afterwards in a second iteration, place the call out message and make the button only appear if certain requirements are met. My question towards that is, why would it be necessary? Because the first option would create UX depth, as in we create a permanent UI action button, which is not useful to 99% of our users, where the second one will be contextual, right? Like if the context is right, then it will show the button. So the question is, can we do that immediately, or is there a huge scope involved in shooting for the end result immediately?
Okay. I got your question. So first of all, do you know that auto expiry feature for environments we shipped to Milestone ago? It's
Can you show me?
How can I show you?
While Shinya is looking for it, Dimitri, what do you think of a compromise, which is if you have over 10 environments that have no deployments, only then show the button?
I mean, that is the same thing, right?
Can I explain about this auto expiry feature? It basically, if user configures review environment properly with this, actually there's a GitLab YAML syntax that, for example, this is a GitLab say YAML, and user configure that environment name is review. Should I go ref name and old stop in 1 day. This is a new feature we released 2 months ago. This is a new one. And if user properly configures their review app with this new keyword, basically the number of stale review app, empty environments, the number of empty environments won't increase, because all environments gonna have an expiry period. So all of them is going to automatically stopped and removed from this available tab. So let's consider that if user created a new project and then they set this keyword from the beginning, they don't need this button at all, because the review apps, yes, whatever it is going to be stopped automatically. But the problem exists for only existing feature, and that user forgot to set this keyword, or it didn't exist when they configured review app. And so basically this, what in such project what user want to do is set expiry period for existing empty environments. This is the first step. And the second is users want to update GitLab YAML to set auto stop in properly. And with these 2 steps, users do not need a manual action anymore, right?
Yes.
Are you following me? Okay, right. So this is the motivation why I said probably we need a button here or something like that. So in that sense, in this button, maybe we want to show a dialogue that with this button, you can set the expel appeal to all empty environments. And later, you should update GitLab YAML to set auto subin, so that your pipeline, your project won't have empty environments anymore. So you don't need to manually click the button anymore. Something like that. Is it clear?
Yes, that sounds amazing to me, and in line with what was to some extent discussed previously. So the question is, I think the remaining question is, can we do that in the first iteration, create the call out message with the button and the instructions on how to do that in the scenario that we recognize towards the user it is relevant for them to do so? So can we implement this button and only show it when certain requirements are met? So where it makes sense towards the user.
Yeah, I think so. Like if there are 10 empty environments, then we show button, right?
Yes.
I think it's from backend perspective, it's possible. Yes.
With your explanation in terms of like, hey, if no auto update YAML is set, can we see that from the backend? Like, hey, give me all environments that are currently stale that are created with a YAML that didn't include auto update syntax, and if those exceed a number of, say, 10, then we show this option.
Yeah, it's possible. Yes. The tricky point is that how we define which environment it is stale. But we can create a, I don't know, whatever condition. Like if the environment doesn't have any deployments and it exists for like a month, then we consider it as a stale. Yeah, something like this condition is required, but yes, it's technically possible.
So there's
Do you think it would be hard?
Sorry.
The technical difficulty is not high. I think we can just include in one iteration, the first iteration.
There's a column here that says updated. Is that something that we can use the information from? Like, would that define something being not stale?
Yeah, we can consider that if it's not updated for, not sure, because like if it's production environment and then if it's not updated for a month, it could be considered as stale, but it might be not. So it's a bit difficult to define which environment it is stale.
I think we have a few conditions that have to be met, and I think we need to be very specific here so that we don't actually delete production. So I wouldn't want to do any work on protected environments, I think. Second of all, we have to have no deployments yet. So I assume production would have some kind of deployment to it. And third, that it had not been updated in the last, I don't know.
Yeah. If we consider, if the logic takes into account of if there are any environments, deployments or not, then yeah, it makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds good. So in this case, only in a very specific instances, this callout will be shown. We will instruct the user to, fix this situation for now. That is a temporary fix that will fix just the current situation, and instruct them how to fix that in the future. So there's a like two parts to this callout. And we refer to documentation. I think that would be the MVC there.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I think this also has a good point to that. User might not be aware of the new keyword, the auto stop in this thing.
Right.
So yeah, it's a good place to encourage them to define it.
Another question.
Yeah, we can show that.
Shinya, can we also add it to the audit log that someone manually has to delete these environments? Or would that be a separate iteration?
It's possible, but maybe it should be next iteration.
Okay.
Won't there be auto records be created as the person that will click the button? Like how I'm thinking about it is like as if the user batch, stops the environments. Like they do a batch mode, and if you do it manually, there will be a record of that, right?
Yeah. So this logic is basically stop environment as batch.
Yeah, so will there be records, and is the iteration or this talking about, and or please correct me if wrong, is like instead of having, for example, in this case, we have 3,500 or almost 4,000 review apps. Say that you click the button, it will remove 3,000 of them. Instead of creating 3,000 records, it will just create one, which states, this user deleted 3,000 environments. If you want more information, this is the list.
I think in terms of an audit, we have to list them all.
So if that is the case, will they not already be listed with this batch action? Won't we get that for free?
We need to log the delete action. I don't know if we get that for free.
Shinya, do you know?
I don't know.
Okay, so that is something we need to look into, but we might get it for free or not.
Yeah.
But in any case, if so, then it's a separate iteration.
Yeah. There's only one thing that I'm a little bit concerned about in terms of this thing is how often we're going to poll the information, because if we're deleting thousands of environments and polling, it might have a performance, it might impact the performance.
No. This doesn't impact any performance. Like the initial proposal, like this is like in this proposal, I have a strong concern on performance. But since we just set expiry period instead of just deleting now, we can just say like, we're going to schedule deletion. We're going to schedule to stop environments. So it doesn't like background worker. There's a background worker to stop all like environments, the expired environments. So it actually can handle bunch of environments in scale. So there's no concern on performance with this approach.
Okay. But a user won't actively see anything being deleted anyway, because we're just scheduling it. Let's say we schedule it for a week from now. A week from now, if I refresh the button continuously, at some point I'll see them like going down one by one, right? It goes, is how many in parallel and how many serial are deleted?
It's I forgot the current background process setting, but it's basically can stop many environments at once. So I don't think users wait for a long time, and when the right time comes, when it's expired.
Is there a reason for us to, like, if so, what I understand now is if the user clicks the button, then a week from that moment, then the action begins to take action. Why is there the week needed? Why cannot just like immediately?
Yeah, so that's a good question. And then So basically, after an environment is created, it doesn't have any deployments, but it might have at some points, like maybe, like usually it gets a deployment within, I don't know, 10 minutes, but it depends on the pipeline setting. It might be a day or, I don't know, a few days. So like 1 week is the basically safer option for them. Like at least if your environment is going to get the deployment, it should happen within a week at least. And otherwise, we consider it as a stale. So that's the reason we cannot immediately start the process. Otherwise, it's going to mess up the usual continuous deployment process.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. I'm taking notes of this, so I'll update the issue with what we've been discussing here. Seems very doable, by the way. If we get this out, I don't know when it can be scheduled. But...
Yeah, I'm under the same impression. I think this should be doable, and it's useful for doc team members.
I am, by the way, thinking of one additional thing that might be needed that does not include or increase scope by too much in terms of front end, because I think the button when pressed does need a modal to reconfirm by the user that they actually want to delete, 3,000 models, unless, but I have to look into that because it's an action scheduled a week from now. It is like, all right, this action has been scheduled a week from now, then it will happen. The user might be able to cancel it again. Like, if it's an immediate action, a model might be needed. If it's not, then the UI will update like, hey, somebody pressed this button. If it's the current user, it's the current user, but also might be another user. So we don't get, multiple of the same thing scheduled. Like, for example, say that 300 users use the same project and 300 users push this button. You would like the first one to push that button, and then everybody is informed that this action will be scheduled, basically, or is already been pressed once. What are your thoughts about that?
I have a feeling like something is missing here, like to indicate that we did something with this environment. So I don't know if we need to update the updated column here in the screen that you see here, or have like a note column that says scheduled to stop in, or some kind of information.
I like that. Yeah, we can do that in deployment. Like,
I know there were some concerns about adding more columns here, so I'm trying to think.
I would not add another column at all, for sure.
So I don't know.
What about adding it in deployment? Like, no deployments yet will be scheduled to be removed if no deployments are received, something like that.
So where would you see it? Like in the deployment column?
Yes, for example.
Yeah, that's fine.
Do actually like this problem is basically doc team's concern, right? The very specific team, and then like the other guys, like I don't know, somewhere aside from the doc teams, do not really care about like what's going to happen on the environments, right? So I think that like showing the deletion progress or I don't know, allowed to the other members could be I don't know, just disturbing them, or it could be noise, because it just stopping your empty environment, so it doesn't they don't need to pay attention at all. So well, but it's up to UX decision, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, I see what you mean. So you say, like, instead of informing environments at every page that if there are no employments yet and this action has been pressed, if we do this, then we inform them in all those places that, you know, this environment will be deleted if it does not get any new deployments, which might be unnecessary. But there's two things. I think I would like to inform users at least in some way that this button has been pressed and this action is in progress. In what way doesn't really matter too much. But the other one is, do we need to inform users of specific environments that are scheduled to be deleted, yes or no? If the second one is not true, like if that is not per se, you know, a requirement, then I would say a mass, like just a message that the process is in progress should be enough as far as I see it. What do you think, Orit?
Yeah, I think as long as we notify the users, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, do you think we need to be specific per environment, or it doesn't matter so much?
Again, Chinya has a point that this is specific to the docs team. So as long as we have some kind of notification that says all environments that have no deployments will be deleted on, and that's it. Or scheduled for deletion, something like that.
Okay, I'll get into that. Yeah, seems good. Let me see. The last thing is, I want to have one thing clear. Say that we do that. Say that somebody presses the button. Let's walk through this. So if this call out message informs the user, hey, you have stale environments, would you like to stop them? And also, if you want, you can update your CI YAML file with the following configuration to, you know, stop this from happening in the future, not needing to clean up by yourself. Then the user clicks the button. What happens next, right? Like they click the button and then we inform them in some way that this thing is in progress. Also, do we inform others of this? Will the UI update for everyone? I think it should. I would say what I expect to happen there is we press the button, the model or the call out message updates, and it states, hey, this is in progress. It minimizes to a smaller one, so it isn't as, you know, intrusive to the UI.
At least you just see the expiry and the way it's going to expire here, this column. So it's not like warning.
It's going to update
style.
that.
Yeah, it's filled. Like in 23 hours, this environment is going to be automatically stopped. So yeah.
Okay. So we get it for free.
Yep. And in this environment page, they see somewhere here.
Well, we didn't discuss when the expiration is going to happen. I suggest not to have it configurable, just to set a time, like in 2 days, in a week. A week I think is good, but I'd like to hear your opinion.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. We can call in the docs team, see what they like.
Well, since this is like a 2-year-old issue, I don't think they're going to mind waiting another week.
Yes, sounds good. I'll update the issue in a little bit after this meeting.
Okay. I'll post the video to the issue and also to Unfiltered.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you all.
This was